exec, el Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 109 of the Asec Talk podcast. I'm your host, El Velez. What's poppin'? What's up? How we doing today? Happy Memorial Day. Shout out and blessings to, thank you to everybody that has sacrificed their lives through this country's great history, that laid it down on the line in the battlefield of war or otherwise. The first responders that are out there every day. Shout out to y'all. This country wouldn't be as free as it is if it weren't for y'all. So I appreciate it. And from everybody that supports the pod, we appreciate it. And thank you. Getting to business. We are roasting today. Okay? That sound is for the Pacers. That sound is for the Timberwolves. That sound is for we experienced more exciting round one and semifinal matchups than the damn Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Okay? We're about to get two sweeps. Two sweeps. That's it. Seriously, that's all you had? Two sweeps? You couldn't entice us by getting us a 7-gamer, maybe 6 games. No. 2 sweeps. And I'm calling them 2 sweeps because on one side, Halliburton's not playing. And on the other side, there is no defense that can stop Luka and Kyrie. Okay? But we're going to break into that later. We're going to start with the Monaco Grand Prix, the crown jewel of Formula One. And thank God, shout out to Charles Leclerc. First Monegasque, that means a person from Monaco, born and raised and grew up there. That's his home track. First Monegasque to ever win his own Grand Prix. He won pole on Saturday. That's where the race was won. Not one position changed the whole race. We're talking about 78 laps. Not one position. 4 guys crashed. And that's it, including Checo Perez. He nasty crash with Kevin Magnussen going into after turn 1 of the first lap. Absolute carnage. Both Haas's out. Checo out. And the last guy to be out was somebody had to retire their car, I believe, but I forgot who it was. One of the back guys. One of the guys that stay in the back. Anyway, this race is the epitome of why Formula One cannot wait to get to 2026. 2026 is supposed to be the year where the cars get revamped, they get smaller, they get narrower. So maybe there is more racing, actual racing, instead of following at races like Monaco and Imola. One would hope that that's the case. We're 2 years away from that, unfortunately. The good thing is that Verstappen got 6th. Didn't even get 2nd. So there's a championship battle at the top, at least for now. Now, that doesn't mean that in the next few races, that's not going to change. But as of right now, McLaren and Ferrari seem to have something for the Red Bulls. Specifically Max. They've always had something for Checo. And then the other big news of the weekend, Adrian Newey has chosen his team, where he's going to go after Red Bull this year in early 2025. And it is Ferrari. He wants to go get Lewis Hamilton his 8th championship to break the record with Michael. Newey was on the team and was the aerodynamics director and technical director of and technical designer of the last Michael Schumacher winning car in 2005, I believe, because after 2005, 2006 was Mika, 2007 was it Mika Hakkinen or Kimi Räikkönen? I'm not sure. I forgot actually. But Adrian Newey was part of that Schumacher program in Ferrari for those championships from, he won the first two at Benetton in the 90s, and then 2000, 2005, he ran 5 straight with Ferrari. So Adrian Newey's going back to the prancing horse to try to go get Lewis Hamilton his 8th championship. Excited to see that. I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. I've been a Ferrari fan forever in many motorsports. Mercedes was just where Lewis was at. I like Mercedes as a team as a whole because of Toto Wolff. I like George Russell. I love the brand and the history that it has, especially in Le Mans and in Formula One. But overall, I love Lewis Hamilton. And when he goes to the prancing horse, I'll be, cheering for Hamilton. You can call me a bandwagon or everything, but I've been with Lewis Hamilton since he was at McLaren with Fernando. So, I've gone through every iteration of where Lewis has been. So the race wasn't really a race. It was more like follow the leader, make your pit stops. Since there was a crash before even lap 1 was completed, some people went in to go get their hard tires and never pitted again. Just have to make it a lot more interesting for it to be the crown jewel of the sport. And there's like 2 overtakes the whole time, and it wasn't even up front. So that's the Monaco Grand Prix. Next is the Indy 500. We had a 4-hour rain delay. That immediately knocks out Kyle Larson from trying to do the double and going to Charlotte and trying to do the Coca-Cola 600. When the rain was done, the race was incredible. From lap 1, carnage. 6 rookies out in like the first 100 laps. Honda with major catastrophic engine failures, from Catherine Legg to some of the Andretti guys. Unfortunate, but when you sit around, when an engine like that is prepared a month to go run at this race at 12 o'clock, and you sit around for 4 hours, even though it's in a garage, electronics can get overheated, starters might not work, a myriad of things can happen. It ended just as everybody, usually thinks the Indianapolis 500 ends, on a last lap pass. But it wasn't on the front stretch, and it wasn't into turn 1. There was a pass into turn 1 by Pato O'Ward, the ninja, for McLaren SP. Passes Joseph Newgarden going into turn 1. People think that that's the move. They get into the backstretch, and you just see Joseph just hounding him down, getting in the draft, getting into his draft, going into turn 3 on the outside. Pulls off the move that wins the race. Joseph Newgarden goes back-to-back for the first time in 22 years that a driver goes back-to-back. And guess what? It was also a Penske driver back in 2002. Mr. Elio Castroneves, the Spider-Man, one of his 4 Indianapolis 500s, his second in 2002. Incredible, Penske, Roger Penske wins his 20th Indianapolis 500 as a team owner. Joseph Newgarden was up there. You knew one of the Penske boys was going to win it, especially after, Kyle Larson was up there in 6th place. Then he has a speeding penalty and could never recover from that. Finished, I believe, 14th, if not like 17th. I wanted Pato to win. He deserved it. It's been 2 years in a row where he's finished second. But shout out to Joseph Newgarden, the kid from Nashville, going into the crowd again to celebrate the 108th running. There is very few sporting events that feel like Indianapolis. It is on my bucket list as a racing fan in general, as a sports fan in general. I want to go when I'm older. I'm 28 now, but when we're a little bit more stable and everything, I would love to take my dad to go see it. Just something special about that race. You know, from lap 1, people were switching, leads. There were 16 leaders, most in Indianapolis 500 history. But Joseph Newgarden repeats back-to-back for the first time in 22 years. Shout out to Penske. Shout out to Joseph Newgarden on that unbelievable feat after 4 hours of a rain delay. Next is the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. This was rain shortened into, I believe, it was into stage 3, not quite stage 4. Into stage 3, Christopher Bell out front, and Tyler Reddick trying to catch him. Rain started, never stopped basically, and Christopher Bell won a rain shortened Coca-Cola 600. That race is also very exciting because there's a lot of ways to pass at that track. You could go high, you could go low, middle. It all depends on how your car's feeling. If you're too loose, you're gonna feel it. If you're too tight, you might lose it going into the wall. Same thing in Indy. Some drivers just went too high, got in the marvels, spun the car around, crashed out. Others had problems, but overall the excitement of the race was never taken away from you, whether it was pit stops, cautions, restarts, which are amazing in both races. But shout out to Christopher Bell and Joe Gibbs Racing. JGR back on the board. I wanted Hendrick to win, specifically Kyle Larson to pull off the double, but he couldn't because of the weather. He made it there when they were in rain delay, but they never got going, so he never got to hop up back in the car. Justin Allgaier was racing for him. He wasn't doing that good of a job considering the type of car that he had, but he was doing okay. He finished, I believe, in the top 15, so, it was pretty good. All right, racing out of the way. Let's get to the basketball. Let's get this depressing, unfortunate, and honestly, if we're being real, this is not even competitive, okay? And I'm just being honest. If we're talking about the Celtics, this hasn't been competitive since round 1. It's been embarrassing. The amount of breaks that they've gotten, injuries. It's, round 1, no Jimmy, no Terry Rozier. Round 2, no Jared Allen, no Donovan Mitchell for 2 games. Now round 3, we get to game 3, an important-ass game coming back from, we're going to talk about game 2 first. Game 2 was the Jaylen Brown show. 40 points. Tyrese Halliburton left his left hamstring, the same one that he hurt in the season. He left. He's done for the series, I believe. He's not playing tonight in game 4. He left the game in the third quarter. The Pacers cut it to 2, and then Boston, kind of took off from there. Just couldn't stop the shot making from Jaylen Brown. Got him into rotation too much, and just couldn't get over the hump. That was game 2. Kind of expected, because they're at Boston game 2. They've lost game 2, so they came out aggressive. All right. Now, it's 2-0 at this point. 2-0. No Tyrese Halliburton, and you already know how the series is looking. Looking dire. It's looking on dire straits. It's not looking good. The Pacers are gonna have to find some offense. They can't play. They try to play defense, And we're going to talk about something in both of these series. And it's very evident, and I don't like it because we talked about it with the Lakers, and the Lakers are gone, so this is supposed to be gone as well. But the refs are definitely being favorable to the Boston Celtics as well as the Dallas Mavericks. There is no way that the same drive happens on both ends of the floor and the Celtics player gets the call and a Pacers player doesn't get the call. Luka and Kyrie get a call, but Anthony Edwards can't get a call. I don't understand why this is not looked at more closely by the league. It honestly sometimes it makes you discouraged as a fan of the game to watch these games because they come so close and these calls mean a lot. But Boston goes up 2-0. Dallas in game 2, it was an eye-opening experience for me as an Anthony Edwards fan this series. Coming off the high of beating the Phoenix Suns and then off the bigger high of beating the defending champion Denver Nuggets in 7 games, I thought that Anthony Edwards would take the next step. The next step would have been keep the hyper-aggressive mode on, get to the rim, get fouled, score 30 a game, be unstoppable. But, unfortunately, something happened to Ant. First game, we chalked it up to being tired off the Game 7. Okay, not an excuse, but okay. Game 2. Dallas goes up 2-0. Anthony Edwards loses his confidence in his mid-range. Just doesn't shoot it anymore. The turnarounds, the jumpers from 17 feet that was cooking in the Phoenix and Denver series, not shooting them, especially in this game. Cat, we're going to talk about him. Bumski Minoski. This man cannot hit a 3 to save his life this series. His life. He has the worst 3-point field goal percentage in the history of the playoffs in this conference finals. It's like 19.2%. It's abysmal. Stop calling yourself the best big man shooter of all time. That is false, sir. False. We're laughing at you at this point. Okay? So Cat paid horribly this game. Luka hits a game-winning 3 with 3 seconds left, and Naz Reid misses the buzzer beater when only down 1 point. Let's go back to the game winner, though. First of all, the Timberwolves were in control of this game. Dallas fought back in it. They walked them down. Why did they walk them down? Because they have Luka and Kyrie in the fourth quarter. That's why. Number 2, on the game winner. For what reason on this earthly plane are you switching a pick and roll with McDaniels originally being on Luka and Gobert, knowing that that's the matchup he wants, McDaniel switches automatically and gives Gobert to Luka exactly what he wants. Same thing that happened with Klay and Curry against Kyrie in the Game 7 of the NBA Finals in 2016 when Klay says, I always regret making the switch and giving him Steph on the 3. Same thing. Boom, boom. Left to right, step back, cash. What comes down the other end? You're down by 1. By 1, not by 3, not by 2, by 1. All you need is a layup and you win the game. Naz Reid takes a 27-footer. Because they soft double Anthony Edwards and he gets off the ball. When he should, as soon as he gets the ball, he should take off running towards the rim. Worst thing, you get fouled. Best thing, you make the shot and get fouled, and you have a 3-point opportunity already leading. There was 3 seconds left. He passed it to Naz Reid. Took a 3. Loss. After getting walked down with the lead. Okay? Unfortunate. 2 games there for the taking at home to go up 2-0. To then go back to Dallas. And having the ability to win one in Dallas and then come back home and finish it. No. You lose both of them at home. Both of them. Now you got to go on the road. Okay? I said the series is probably over heading to Dallas. There was a missed foul call on Jaden McDaniels on a challenge play that gave Dallas the ball. Clear foul. I mean, when I'm talking about clear foul, clear reach by Kyrie, clear. They can't overturn it. Okay. They can't overturn it. Dallas wins the challenge. It's their ball. Super important. Stupid turnover by Ant while being defended by Derek Lively. Instead of attacking him and going to the rim, he tries to do some bullshit, loses the ball. Another turnover. This is within a minute left. Ant lacked aggressiveness in the fourth quarter, never went to take over, passive, uninspiring, alley-oops all over the place for the Mavs. The Mavs had 28 points on alley-oops. They were cooking Rudy Gobert. They were cooking Cat, cooking Naz Reid. I mean, I'm talking about simple screen and roll lobs. Just Lively. Gafford. Lively. Gafford. Constantly. That's one of the things that kept them in the game until the end. Okay? So they go up 2-0. Back to Boston. We're in Indiana. No Tyrese, though. So you expect Boston to blow them out, right? Boston wins the game to go up 3-0. No Tyrese Halliburton. Pacers controlled most of the game. Pascal Siakam, Andrew Nembhard scored 32. But unfortunately, they also got walked down. Partly because of the refs. Also because of bad shot selection. The refs have been extremely questionable in both of these conference finals, like I've said. And this is the weakest, I am willing to say this. This is the weakest road to an NBA Finals ever for any team. And this is the number one team that won 64 games. And they should be, right now, there should be 11-0. And they've dropped 2 games to inferior teams undermanned. Okay? So the Pacers dominated the game. Pascal Siakam was playing well. So was Andrew Nembhard. But key turnovers at the end. And also Tatum. Offensive rebounding. Late offensive rebounding too. Like the type that kills you as a team. Points in the paint. Pacers dominated. Which is what they should have done and what they should do tonight, but we'll see. But it's still the weakest road to the NBA Finals. And I think that, we're going to talk about the other series now, like the game 3 of the other series. But I think whichever team gets out of the other series, we already know kind of which one's going to be, but it's going to be Boston. Boston doesn't have the fourth quarter closing ability that any of the other 2 teams have, defensively or offensively. Defensively for the Minnesota Timberwolves, offensively for the Dallas Mavericks. And also, they got one dog. One dog. That's Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum, that's a puppy. You don't want that type of smoke. Not with Luka, not with Kyrie. Okay, and he played with Kyrie. Okay? It's unfortunate because one would want some competitive basketball and series especially when we're talking about the conference finals. Now, there's a possibility that in the finals we get a 7-game series. And that might brush it over what we saw in the conference finals. But what we've seen in the conference finals so far is just uninspiring as a fan to see how teams, one, either get injured, or two, just can't figure out, make adjustments to what a team is doing. Really unfortunate that happens. So the Mavs go up 3-0 against the Timberwolves in Dallas. I believe that they're on their way to the finals and a championship. Like I said, I don't think Boston beats this team. Late game execution by Luka and Kyrie. Again, bites the Timberwolves in the dust. Over 30 points again for the first teammates in 50 years to do that in 3 straight games. These are the best closers in the game, man. If it's in the balance, 10, 8, 7, they're going to walk your ass down. Timberwolves have had the lead going into the fourth. Every single game, they've gotten walked down. Lively got a neck strain. He won't play in game 4. But Maxi Kleber is questionable, so he might play. The neck strain was a heavy knee to the head by Cat by accident when they were going for a rebound. Cat played awful. He went 0 for 8 from 3. Just uninspiring basketball. Doesn't want to attack the rim. Not aggressive enough heading to the paint. Ant not aggressive enough looking to score. Too many passes while in the lane. He gets 2 feet in the paint and can literally go up, get a layup, get fouled, dunk. Had a nasty ass dunk that he got fouled on, and they didn't call it, obviously, because they haven't called anything for Ant this whole series, especially in the second halves. But too many passes in the lane, not aggressive enough looking to score. He said he was going to be aggressive. He was, but not really. He scored 26. I was looking for a 40-point performance from him. The defense against Luka and Kyrie is ineffective. The switching is bad. They just hunt out Rudy Gobert. They hunt out Cat, hunt out Naz Reid. Kyle Anderson did a better job than mostly everybody on Luka. That's because he's a bigger body. He moves slow, just like Luka, so he could kind of time his pace a little bit. But the defense is awful. Too many doubles, not people staying home, too many open threes. I know that you can't play Luka and Kyrie one-on-one, but you're going to have to not let the other people beat you. Them two could get 30, but if you hold everybody else to 10 or less, I think that you can, win a game, but it's now 3-0. Every team is 0-54 when going down 3-0. So the finals are going to be the Mavericks in Boston. I hope that in the finals, the refs are not, riding Boston's, no diddy, because that would be very sad to see. Luka's 25. Kyrie's a legend that he could cement himself really in basketball lore if he wins one with Luka, being a second after winning with LeBron and hitting one of the most craziest and nuttiest shots in NBA history over Curry in 2016. It's just sad. It's sad as a fan to witness that, and unfortunately, that's the only way that. Hold up, guys. As a fan, unfortunately, it is kind of discouraging seeing seeing the conference finals. Last year we got 7-game series, and then Denver swept as well. So we did have one sweep last year, but to have 2 sweeps, especially like today, I don't think the Boston one's going to be competitive. Even if it's in Indiana, I just know Tyrese. I just don't see it being competitive. I think that Boston comes out gangbusters, shoots like 40% from three, and just destroys Indiana last gasp at home. I would give the Eastern Conference Finals MVP to Jaylen Brown. They're probably going to give it to Tatum again, but I believe Jaylen Brown has earned it with more consistent play. And as for the West, I'm not giving up on Ant. I still think he's going to be the face of the league. I just think that at 22, not ever being to the conference finals, I think fatigue has set in. He doesn't know how. His body's not conditioned to go that deep yet. He is young. He's supposed to, kind of fight through that. But, there's a reason why only 26 and older players historically have won in the playoffs and won championships. The body has to be ready for it. You have to learn and understand the game at such a high level peak that you've seen everything and have the confidence in yourself that you can go through anything. I don't think this team is going away anytime soon. Gobert and Kat got to find out to do something there. I think Bam would be such a good piece for this team just because of the defensive versatility. That'd be somebody that if we got rid of Bam for any reason or we're thinking about it, I think that Minnesota would be the place for him just because, they love to switch everything, and you can't switch everything with Gobert and Kat. I mean, they're just too slow-footed. It's embarrassing, honestly. For you not, you're the number one defense in the whole, season in the playoffs, and then you get to this series and you get cooked by two people. And that's all that's happening. You're getting cooked by two guards. And there's nothing you can do. They're giving it to you any way they want. 3, midi, floater, layup, alley-oop, outlet passes, threes from the corner. Oh, my God. This is why I say, why are you switching? Screw switching. Stay home. McDaniels and Ant have to hold their own against Luka and Kyrie. You have to stay home on PJ Washington. You have to stay home on Derek Jones. You have to stay home on Derek Lively and Gafford. Why? Because then they don't get off. And you funnel, Luka and Kyrie to try to do too much. But when you're willingly switching, you ain't doing anything, the guy. You ain't doing anything. And getting walked down in the fourth quarter, you need better fourth quarter offense. And I don't know if Chris Finch on the sideline would have made a difference if he didn't rupture his knee. But I don't know how through 3 games they haven't told Ant, hey, Ant, F the game plan. Don't pass the ball. Go to the hole and go get yours. That's the only way we're winning this game. They can't stop you. They're missing their free throws too. It's just discouraging. It's discouraging. Ant needs another year. He's going to go to the Olympic team. I think he'll learn a lot of stuff there with LeBron and Curry and KD. And become even better coming into next year. He's still really young for a basketball player. It's going to be his 5th year next year. Cat is the biggest piece that I'm looking to move. And I'm looking to move for somebody. Lauri Markkanen is who I would want if I'm Anthony Edwards. Lauri Markkanen, a guy that's 6'11", 7 feet, can actually shoot, doesn't have a broken jumper, and is definitely capable of going inside, getting layups, getting fouled, making free throws, running the offense through him. Lauri Markkanen would be somebody I target. Um, it's very, very, very discouraging to see the officiating. We're talking about, I mean, when you have Reggie Miller and JJ Redick on the call and they're saying, I thought we were in the conference finals. When fouls are called, there's a problem. There's a problem with that. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's not at all how it's supposed to be. So that's discouraging. I hope that it doesn't happen in the finals. I just want a 50-50 called game for once. No favoritism, dumb texts, people screaming in refs' faces, not getting texts. Luka and Jason Tatum just getting the benefit of the doubt. Kyle Anderson getting a tech for no reason while he walked away from the ref. Just, in my opinion, bad officiating, especially down the stretch. Bad use of challenges. Using challenges in the first half. Losing challenges in the first half. I don't understand why you would do that either. Overall, I think Dallas is going to win the championship. The reason why is because even with Kristaps Porzingis, which I know he's not playing in this series, he's going to play in the finals. They've lost him for the whole playoffs ever since the Miami Heat series, and he's going to play in the finals. Luka has played with him, so he knows what he brings. I think with Derek Lively back, hopefully with the rest, if they sweep the Timberwolves, he gets some good rest, gets that neck strain sorted out. Him and Gafford is a big 1-2 punch in the middle, especially for rebounding, which I think that they will dominate against the Boston Celtics rebounding wise. And I just trust Kyrie and Luka way more than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think that they're the two best players in that series, if I'm being really, really honest with you guys. Late game execution, poise, big shot making, playmaking. I just think that they're just two better players. I mean, you might say that Jason Tatum is one of the top 10 players in the league. You might say that Jaylen Brown is one of the best players in the league. I get all that. Luka's the best player in the series, and that's no question. And, Kyrie, if he's not 2, he's 3. Personally, that's my opinion. If we're looking at the benches, I like Dallas's bench more with Josh Green and Jaden Hardy. I like Gafford. I like Blake Lively. It's just Maxi Kleber, especially because he stretches out the floor and can definitely cause problems for Kristaps because he can't be in the paint blocking shots. I just have Dallas in that matchup if that's what we get. And since teams are 0-154 in the NBA from 0-3 deficits, I believe that's what we're going to get. A championship for Luka will cement him as, exactly what we thought he was coming from Real Madrid. A guy that started at 14, 13 years old, won championships at 17, MVPs at 17, comes into the league, immediately averaged 20, and then every year after that gets better and better, becomes one of the best scorers in the league, leads the league in scoring almost 2 years in a row. Second in the MVP voting, or third behind Shea. Just a overall legend in the game at 25 years old. With Kyrie, with Jason Kidd, for the Mavericks. I just think it'd be a very historical title for Luka, Kyrie, Jason Kidd, and the Mavericks as a whole. And then the real legacy of Luka Doncic will start beginning with that championship and that Finals MVP. Kyrie has the ability to win that Finals MVP. I'm not saying he does not, but since Luka has shown up for the most part, I believe that Luka will get Finals MVP. For the Pacers, getting healthy, man. I mean, Tyrese has to be at full strength like he was before that first hamstring injury. You need more size in the middle for rebounds. Nembhard probably takes a next step next year based on what he showed in Game 3. Smooth shot making, confident. I'm not saying it's a Jaylen Brunson type of situation there. But, the kid has some skill. Matherin's not there. He's hurt for the whole year with a shoulder, so that's another weapon that they don't have. This team made it to the conference finals, albeit through some injury circumstances with the Bucks and with the Knicks. I understand it, but they still made it to the conference finals. They've been in these games. They haven't gotten blown out. We'll see what happens tonight, but it's just discouraging that we see two sweeps. It gives way to hyperbole on both sides. People, I hate it when ESPN and they just talk about Boston being like, oh my God, Boston's this team, so great and everything, when they're really not. If they don't hit threes, they're not a great team. They get discouraged. They don't play defense. They're very hit or miss with their stars. Jaylen Brown is more consistent than Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum is considered the one. I don't think Al Horford has anything to bring it to the table against Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford in the physical standpoint. Derek Lively is the type of dude to go out there and contest the three. He's not afraid of that. Luka and Kyrie has been playing way better defense together. Derrick Jones Jr. is probably going to cover Tatum. Luka probably covers Jaylen Brown. And then everywhere else, I mean, you put Kyrie on Drew Holiday. That should be a cook-up. And then Al Horford and Derek White. There's different matchups. PJ Washington on Derek White. He's not going to do nothing. I just think that offensively, the Dallas Mavericks just have a better team, a better scheme, a better coach. Like, Jason Kidd is still the better coach in that series. But we'll break it down as we go forward. As for Minnesota, like I said, I think that they needed like a Lauri Markkanen, a Bam Adebayo. I'm not saying KD. They don't have the money, nor they need a 35-year-old, 36-year-old, legend that, barely sometimes can stay on the floor. So I'm not saying that, but they need a big man that can actually go to the hole and not be a pansy. Play good defense. That's why I said Bam. But if you need a guy to stretch the floor and attack the rim, I think Lauri's the best for that. On to baseball. Actually, no. We have the Champions League final this week. Borussia Dortmund versus Real Madrid at Wembley. I have Real Madrid. I'm a Real Madrid fan. A la Madrid. I'm looking for Jude Bellingham to score at Wembley in his home, in England. Vinny should have the best he should be the best player on the field. But then again, we've only scored when Luka Modric comes as a super sub and he makes a pass to Joselu. Our starting lineup has not scored, like hasn't opened up a lot of chances. And even when they have, they scored once and then give it up later in the game for then Modric to have a come in. And a super sub has to come in. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Hummels, Royce versus, Vinny, Bellingham, Rodrigo. Is going to be a very, very interesting game. On to baseball. Yankees are still rolling as usual. I expect that. Why do I expect that? They have too good of a team, and they've been playing too well not to. MVP frontrunner as we speak, Shohei Ohtani, probably in the National League. And in the AL, between Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, actually that's about it. Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson. At this moment in time. At this moment in time for MVP. The pitchers are doing well. Yamamoto's pitching well. Shota's pitching well. Cole Reagans. I feel bad for Garrett Crochet, being at the White Sox and being such a good pitcher. Same thing for the pitchers in Miami, whether that's Jesus Luzardo, Ryan Weathers, Garrett, Cabrera. We're 19 games back. We're done. It's over. I mean, the Phillies are kind of running away with the division. They're 6.5 games up on Atlanta, and Atlanta just found out that Acuna just tore his other knee. So he's out for the year with the torn ACL. And then the next closest team is Washington. They're 13 games back, so the Phillies are pretty much running away with that. Their staff is amazing. Wheeler, Nola, Ranger Suarez, Dominguez sometimes goes in there, pitches well. When you look at Milwaukee's doing well. They're 4.5 games up on the Cubs. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are 6.5 and 7.5 games back. St. Louis is 5.5 games back. But thing about St. Louis, I don't like the rotation. I only like Sonny Gray. I don't like Lance Lynn. The Dodgers are 5.5 games up on the Padres. They're 5.5 games back on San Francisco, so that's a very close for second there. Arizona's only 7 games back. Colorado's 13 games back. Ezekiel Tovar's been playing well. Doyle, McMahon, but they're two behind. They don't have pitching like that, unfortunately. You look at the Yankees. Garrett Cole's not there, but Louis Gill has been pitching really well. Nasty Nestor's been doing all right. Schmidt has been doing great. So has Stroman and Rodon. They've all pitched pretty well. Baltimore's just 1.5 games back of New York. Corbin's been playing well. Grayson's been pitching well. Kramer, the whole pitching staff. Maybe Cole Irvin's the only one that's shaky. But everybody else has been pitching pretty well. Gunnar Henderson was leading the league in the majors in home runs with 17 until who just passed him? Kyle Tucker for Houston. He has 18. It's Gunnar Henderson and I forgot the other guy who has 17. It escapes me right now. Damn it. Somebody else has 17. I forgot who it was. I don't think it's Shohei. Might be, but I don't think it's Shohei. So Baltimore's right there. Boston has the best rotation ERA-wise in the league. Tanner Houck is a Cy Young candidate. So is Cutter Crawford. Chris Well's been pitching well. Bayo's been pitching well. So they have a good rotation. Tyler O'Neill's back. Tampa Bay's 10.5 games back. 2 games under 500. They're trying. They still don't have that superstar. Randy's still not playing to his potential, to what we know. Tosh Bradley came back. He started pitching well. Toronto's 12.5 games back. Barrios is still pitching well, but they can't get run support for some reason. Vladdy has been finally starting to pick it up. So has Bo Bichette. But overall, I think that 12 games behind is just way too much, even for the wild card. Cleveland's been playing really well. J-Ram is also making an MVP push. Tanner Bybee's pitching well. Their whole team has been playing pretty well. The Naylor brothers, Rocchio, Freeman, everybody's been playing pretty solid. KC's been playing well. Cole Reagan's been pitching well. So has Seth Lugo. He's in the Cy Young mix. Bobby Witt's in the MVP mix. Salvador Perez is almost leading the league in RBIs, but it's actually J-Ram. He just got the 50. Their team has to wake up more bats-wise. Jorge Polanco, MJ Melendez, Vinny Pasquantino. They have to wake up, but they're playing pretty well. The Twins are 6.5 games back. Pablo just got hit really hard yesterday. They just need more consistency from the bats. Carlos Correa, Clearloff, Kepler, Buxton, no Royce Lewis still. Detroit, Schoolbo's pitching well. Casey Mize had a nice outing. But unfortunately, 9.5 games back is, I think, too much, even in the Central. Veerling has been hitting well. Riley Green has cooled off. Torque has been hitting some good balls. But overall, they just don't have enough pitching in the rotation to be able to win enough games. White Sox are done. They're 20.5 games back. Like I said, Garrett Crochet is basically, I hope he gets traded soon. A place like Houston would be doing really good. A place like Tampa Bay would do him really good. The Yankees would probably be in the mix for him. Toronto could use him. I believe Texas could use him, even though DeGrom and Scherzer are hurt. Atlanta could use him to really, put somebody for Strider. Milwaukee, because they lost Corbin Burns, they could use him as an ace. Pittsburgh to put behind Skeens and Jared Jones. Cincinnati. I don't want to say the Dodgers, maybe the Padres, maybe the Giants. Arizona for sure could use him. So I'm looking for Garrett Crochet to get the hell out of the White Sox. Seattle's number 1 in the West right now. Texas is 3 games back. Houston is 3.5, so they've recovered. Oakland is 6.5 games back, so they're still kind of in the mix. And the Angels are 7.5 games back, so still kind of in the mix, but not really. Seattle is just a matter of the bats. Julio has been picking it up. He got 2 home runs back-to-back the last 2 games. So he's starting to pick it up. Ty France has to start picking it up. J.P. Crawford, he's back in the lineup. He has to start being his old self as well. Texas is a little sputtery right now at the bats. Corey Seager is back in his form. He's hit a bunch of home runs lately, bunch of extra base hits. Simeon still has to pick it up. Adolis has to pick it up at the average. Evan Carter struggling a little bit after he had a great playoff run last year. Wyatt Langford, I think, got sent back to AAA. If not, he's hurt. Jonah Heim has to pick it up. Nathaniel Lowe. Everybody has to just pick up hitting for the Texas Rangers. Their pitchers are doing pretty well considering their injuries. But, they have to find a closer. Leclerc, they put him into the 8th. He saved it yesterday. We'll see what happens from there. But they're pretty close. They can make a push. Houston, Christian Javier is back. Fromber is back. But Aaron Getty and Hunter Brown, they just give up wins, man. They just give up too many runs. Ronel Blanco's back after the 10-game suspension. He pitched the gym yesterday. They just need more pitching. Kyle Tucker's doing great, but they need more Jordan. They need more Breggy. They need more Altuve. They just need a little bit more offensive oomph. The A's have an offensive oomph. They just don't have pitching. The Angels don't have either. Washington, C.J. Abrams is looking like a breakout player like we said he would be. Mackenzie Gore is still struggling, finding the strike zone sometimes. Josiah Gray just did a rehab start. He looks like he's on his way back. The Mets, they're a mess. Not having Kodai Senga. Alonso's not hitting. Francisco's struggling. You have no Alvarez. He's hurt. The pitching is kind of meh at best. Cincinnati, they just don't get run support, or they get run support, but their pitchers just don't execute when they're supposed to. Wild pitches, errors, stuff like that. San Francisco's playing well. Arizona's playing well. Corbin Carroll's still hitting $180, so he's not hitting at all. Cattell came off a 20-game hitting streak. He lost it. He has to do it again. He has to, get back on the saddle, but he's doing well. Christian Walker has to hit better. Lourdes Gurriel has to hit better. It's shaping up. 1.5, 2.5 in the Central, 3 in the West. That's in the AL. In the National League is a little bit more spread out. You have Philly 6.5 games up on the Braves. You have the Cubs 4.5 games back of Milwaukee, and then you have the Padres 5.5 games back of the Dodgers. It's looking like everybody's getting into their groove. Some surprises, probably Tanner Houck, the Boston Red Sox pitching staff, Ranger Suarez, even though he got hit yesterday, but he's been pitching really, really well. Led the league in wins. He was 8-0 or 9-0 until yesterday. Paul Skeens is still incredible. Can't wait to see more of him. Can't wait to see more of Jared Jones. Hoping for the injuries to the pitchers to start coming back hopefully soon. Walker Buehler's back. Now we just need Kershaw. We need Scherzer. We need DeGrom. Mason Miller's still punching out people at 101. He's probably the best closer this season so far. Juan Soto's probably been the best pickup by anybody. Obviously, he's Juan Soto. I think they'll pay him if they win this year. If they win the World Series, I think they'll pay him whatever he desires, and they'll keep him being a Yankee for a very, very long time. He's endeared themselves to the fans. He just hits. Judge and Stanton are also hitting. We just need Rizzo to wake up. Volpe's been doing well. He's hitting over 300. So the season's definitely shaping up. Gunnar Henderson's putting in an MVP type season from the plate. So it's a very exciting season. Still a long way to go, but over 50 games played already, or I would say 54. So, almost only 100 games left. Almost the first 60 games is 62 games done. And overall, everything is still kind of competitive, at least at the top. At the bottom, 13 games back for the Colorado, 7.5 games back for Cincinnati. That's okay. 19 games back for Miami. We're horrible. The Angels are 7.5 games back. The White Sox are 21.5 games back. They're done. And Toronto's 12 games back. That seems like it's kind of done too. Other than that, we shall see what happens with the Pacers in Boston. I believe Boston sweeps. We'll see what happens tomorrow with Timberwolves Dallas. It's in Dallas. No Derek Lively. We'll see how that works. Even if they can get to 3-1, even if they get to 3-3, they still have to win 4 in a row against that closing duo. It's going to be tough. So I got Boston Mavs in the finals. Mavs winning. We'll get to that when the actual series starts. Thank you guys. I love you. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. Follow me on all my socials. It's in the description. I love you guys. God bless. Happy Memorial Day. And I leave you all with the outro.